Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the still as yet unnamed podcast. As always, I am Brink. Below me, behind the logo, hiding his face from everyone, is Orbital Potato. And to my right is Rhapsody doing the luscious hair flip. Apparently, he put plenty of conditioner in this morning. How you guys doing?
I'm doing a lot better now that I know that your intro almost definitely straight included the lines below me, orbital potato.
You know what though? You know what? I'm fine with that because I was the guy that was mentioned first, right? So it was like, "Hi, I'm
I
Brink,
did that
and
just
there's
for
Orbital
you.
Potato."
Just for you.
You know,
You were
I
complaining last
I
time because you
respect
felt like you'd been demoted or something. So
I
had to fix
did,
that.
and quite
To
rightfully
his
so.
whims.
Look, this is good. You know, I can start leveraging out some more important things. So,
Oh
how would
no.
you feel about getting?
No.
How would you feel about getting rid of Rhapsody, Brink? You know, come on. You know, like we
No,
could.
no. We've got to
Let's
have
just-
the deep baritone and the Australian accent to hold this whole thing together.
Oh no, I can do the
necessary.
accent for you. Like I can
Oh,
do the
no.
accent for you. There's a
Please
shark
don't.
in the water. Yeah, get the shrimp on the
Shrimp on
barbie.
the Barbie. There we go. He always does shrimp on the Barbie after shark in the water. I don't understand why he does shark in the water first. That's not as iconic of a line. Also, we don't call them shrimp, by the way, just for anyone that is American or UK based, right? If you think it's actually shrimp on the Barbie, that's just what we had in the ad to pander to you folk. We call them prawns. We've never called them shrimp.
Really?
Ever.
I did not know
Yes.
that. Prawns on the Barbie.
This is why we should get rid of him, Brink, because
That
he just
is
complains.
Great.
You know, he complains about this cultural appropriation that we're doing to
Orbital.
all of
I
Australians.
think
If
as
we're
much salt
getting
as
rid
you've
of people
had.
for complaining, you were gotten rid of halfway through last episode. Oh, fuck anime. Oh, fuck fantasy. Fuck fantasy anime. It's my impersonation of you.
uh, people actually had a
No.
lot of really good suggestions for anime things. You should go read the comments for the last video.
You know
and
what?
Just rub some more salt
I-
into those wounds.
I read some of the comments. You know, and I really appreciate people. You know how you're looking out for me and you're giving me suggestions and stuff. But that boat has sailed. That ship has long departed from the harbor. Anime is not for me, friends. It is long gone. Not interested. No siree.
We'll give up on that one. A few more people suggested a couple of names for the podcast. Most of them were vetoed vehemently by one or more of us, such as the Brocast, referring to Brink Rhapsody Orbital. Nothing to do with bros. No, it's just not happening. I think we're all in agreement.
I'll admit this much. It is a clever name.
It is. I fucking love it, right? No, right? Okay, so I think that it is the best name so far. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out. I think it is the best name so far because it is clever, it is witty, and it combines something that we've all got, which is like the first letter of our names, and puts them in a word. So I think it's like an equal part of all of us into a word.
Everyone
I
on
really
Earth
do.
has a first letter in their name. That is something
right,
that
I
can
don't-
bring us
I don't-
all
I don't-
together.
Oh my god. I don't need sarcasm, okay? I need reassurance that this is
And we'd only have to make up a word 26 letters long because that would be all the letters of the alphabet. We wouldn't have to cover everything, 7 billion times.
Yeah, we'll be able to have everyone in there. Orbital, actually, I'm starting to see your way, if only for the fact that it's got Brink first, then Rhapsody, then Orbital. It's the correct order.
I thought about this because you could have Rob or you could have Borcast or something like that.
or you know what, you could have the Orbcast, right? So it's ORB, and it just coincidentally
It can't
also
be
is
Orb.
the first
You're on
part
the
of my
bottom.
name too.
You're on the bottom. It can't be Orb.
Yeah, but it's not bro, isn't it? Like, you guys hate bro, but you apparently like other combinations of letters. So Orb, the Orbcast, or
You hate
know,
this. You hate this one word with specific charging and connotation, but you like other words. It's the worst argument I've ever heard. Actually, here's a really good name suggestion that was in the comments for the last episode. The name suggestion is Rhapsody sounds nothing like he looks. I'm assuming this is a name suggestion, though, because it pops up so often that it has to be, right?
I know. I something
Uh,
tells me that's not going to be the last time that we see this either. Someone
Oh,
also
good
said
God, no.
someone also said that we need to come up with a name between me and Rhapsody, and Potato can't be a part of the name until he shows his face.
what? That's fucking dumb. That's fucking dumb. I'm boycotting that
I
shit.
agree.
That is
If you
dumb,
aren't
right?
confident enough in the podcast to put your face on it,
No, because it's not like that. See, I think I provide at least 75% of the interesting commentary in this podcast, right? So
No,
if
you just ramble on incessantly about virgin olives.
what's wrong? It Rhapsody picked it up. He was clearly digging the vibe. No,
Anyway,
if you interrupt my indie game fucking moment this episode with olive oil or anything similar, I will find you and I will kill you. Very important to me.
all right.
all right.
To wrap up the comments from the last one, we actually got a legitimately good question. This is the kind of question that we want to debate. So if you have one of these that you want to ask us, anything about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, or gaming, definitely shoot us that question in the comments. But last time around, Nathan Clark asked if there was any game that you could go and fix, remake, rebuild to make it good, what would it be and why? Somebody want to start with that one?
Dibs lost.
I mean, my funny answer was the game of life, so I can go back and fix my life. But that joke wears off very, very quickly.
Funny is a little of a strong word.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, this is oh my god. Well, in all seriousness, I don't know. I mean, there's so many games, and I don't think that you can actually confine it just to one game, because there's always things in games that you want to change and you want to tweak. I guess it's to the extent of those tweaks that you're talking about. Sorry, who was the guy's name that asked the question? I do apologize
Nathan
for
Clark.
forgetting it.
Um,
Nathan.
yes.
Yeah. I guess it's to the extent of how much you want to change the game, because there's so many games that I see and I play and I'm like, oh, I would really love if they had this thing in or this thing in. And I don't know. I don't know if there's a game that I would like to completely overhaul, because if you do completely overhaul a game, then you lose what that game is and has become. But I don't know. It's a really interesting question.
Well, I think
Maybe, yeah.
I
Maybe-
think there's a couple
yeah.
sides to this one. It's a difficult question to think about, because to like a game enough to want a better version of it, it has to be across a certain threshold. But then
Yes.
if it's across that threshold, then you're talking about like minor improvements, unless you're looking at a game where well, let's take an example. You have the Command and Conquer series, where like the older games, a lot of people loved the play style of the earlier games more than the later games. So you could go back and bring those up to speed graphically, like make the game in Unreal Engine 4 with the maximum possible graphic setting, gorgeous game to use, nothing broken, no compatibility problems with newer operating systems, and you have these gorgeous old games to enjoy all over again. And but then you have the newer Command and Conquers, which some people didn't like. So it's kind of a roundabout question. I'm not entirely sure how to answer it. Rhapsody, you have anything to say on that one?
So I thought you were about to completely nick what would be the most salient or like clear response I could give to this, which would be Command and Conquer 4, Tiberian Twilight.
What would you fix about it?
What would I fix about it? Okay, so first off, burn it down. Then start with the base of what was a base building, army amassing RTS game, and then move from there. Don't ditch everything that made the series great and decide to go in a completely different direction for the sake of useless innovation. No one is in the Command and Conquer series for watered down Dawn of War 2 gameplay.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of series you could say that of, where like as they went on, the games just got worse and worse as they tried to innovate for the sake of innovation. This would be one I'd love to see people in the comments answering this one, because I'm sure we'll get a ton of different answers on what that should be.
I want to amend my previous ramble where I didn't actually give an answer. And I want to say Civilization Beyond Earth.
Okay.
I adored and still do adore Civilization 5, one of my favorite games of all time, one of a lot of people's favorite games of all time, I would imagine, certainly up in the top 10 of a lot of people.
Mhm.
And Civilization Beyond Earth was just a fucking mod for Civ 5, and I wasn't even disappointed. I was fucking broken after that game. Like, it was just ugh.
Yeah.
You know? It made you like want to crawl into a little corner and just like cry yourself to sleep. Sort of like an average night for me. But you know, it made me want to do that even more so.
I know a game
And
that needs to be fixed.
yeah. What's your game?
8-bit armies.
Oh god. Oh my god. Oh sweet mother of Jesus. You know what? Fuck. No. You know what? Civ Beyond Earth's a great game in comparison to 8-bit armies. I take it all back. 8-bit armies is my game to change. My god.
Okay,
so just for clarity, this is the game that you two did one episode on
and we'll never do again.
Abandoned?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me clarify this, because this is actually a really good answer. The art style is awesome. The controls, for the most part, are relatively clear. There's some things in the UI that need fixed. But the two biggest things about the game are it is utterly and completely shallow as far as gameplay goes, and there are not enough units. So if you had the same game engine with the same art style, with the same idea, and like 4 times as many units on 3 factions with just a little bit better than the straight up rock, paper, scissors that they have right now, it could be an epic game. But it's just way too content empty.
If you've never heard of this game before, basically imagine the original, the very, very first Command and Conquer game, right? That's basically what it is.
We just went full circle.
In Minecraft. Exactly. Except it sucks total ass that it makes me sad to even talk about this game. Let's move on to brighter subjects. Fuck me.
No, let's not. Because fucking Command and Conquer 4 was not going to be my answer. But it ended up becoming slightly my answer. So the easiest way for me to figure out which of these games I want to talk about is just to go to my own reviews on Steam, which is, it means that I liked the game enough to play it. I liked the idea enough to play through a large amount of it, and then I found it disappointing enough that I had to write a review that said, look, this game looks really good, but it has these aspects that are wrong with it, and this is why I can't recommend it. Yeah. The best example of this is Lords of the Fallen. If anyone is familiar with the Dark Souls-like experience that came out, I believe, early 2015, it's just not fun. So it doesn't manage to direct you through its world. Even though it has a more linear world than Dark Souls, it's more difficult to make your way through it. It gives you like a one-line synopsis of what you're supposed to be doing at all times. Whereas Dark Souls doesn't even give you that, and you instinctually know for a large amount of the time, oh, I need to be going to here, I need to be going to here. That's a hallmark of good design, that they can direct you without giving specific direction. This game gives specific direction all of the fucking time, and it's still abysmal at making the player care at all about the world or about where they should be going. The combat is clunky, the world is uninteresting, the lore and characters just make no fucking sense whatsoever. Yeah. It could have been an amazing game. It's beautiful. It has this, it has the correct sensibility that you want from a Souls-like, but it's just not fun at all.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
This is actually, it's kind of along the same lines. I've heard a lot of people recently talking about characters and things going on in games. Basically, what's being said is, if it requires supplemental material to explain what's going on, you've made something terrible. Like, your character should speak for himself. You don't have to have a bunch of like accessory lore to understand what's going on. Your game should be intuitive, and like you were saying, you just instinctively know where to go, that type of deal. Because I haven't played Doom, but from everything that I have heard, they have some of the most epic character showings ever done, because Doom Guy just emotes so clearly, and you have there are no questions about what this game is about. I mean, you're there to rampage and kill stuff, and it speaks so clearly to that point. It's just amazing. But anyway,
I think we watched the same Jimquisition episode on that one.
I heard people talking about it before he did that, but yeah, he was very clear and concise on it.
Exactly. He's very, very clear about the way that the Doom Guy expresses himself. But actually, something that I wanted to addend to that is there are games that have all of this supplementary lore that you don't need. You can just go through the base game experience and enjoy it, and you'll understand everything. But then if you want to, you can go, oh, this person serves this god. I can read this book that I found in this dungeon about this god, and it elucidates a little bit more about the world. And hey, it tells me maybe I want to check this kind of an area to find more stuff. Stuff that, like The Witcher 1 is the only one that I have experience with at the moment, but it seems to do that really, really well. And the way that it directs the player through that and allows the player to, at their own pace, explore the rest of the world and the lore is incredible to me. I don't know how I haven't been playing this franchise since the fucking day it came out.
Yeah. I mean, that's another one that I haven't played is Witcher 3, but you talk about high marks for a game. I don't think I've ever heard a game that people have so consistently spoken high of. I don't think I've heard anyone rip on Witcher 3. So
I've not either. And I've been looking.
You want me to try? I can try.
Have you played it?
Fantasy world is fantasy and anime. It couldn't be worse.
It's
my personation.
It's a fantasy world, man. I'm telling you, it's just
is it anime though?
If you haven't played it, don't
it's
rip
not
on
anime.
It.
It's not anime. No, I'm not gonna rip on it. Apparently, a really good game. I just don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
seems pretty dope. Oh well, that was fun. That was enjoyable. It was very good.
Some things can be enjoyable, but man, it really sucks when people break games, and apparently War Thunder has been having a problem with this. I saw a video posted. I cannot remember who retweeted the video, but I did a little bit of digging and got to the forum where this whole thing started. But War Thunder is having a problem with cheaters who are, apparently they have two battle modes. They have arcade battle and they have rank battle. And the arcade battle, you have markers for all of the enemies showing where everyone is. It's just like, for fun type deal. Rank battle, they took the markers out after the game was released, so you couldn't see people coming to, add to the experience. Well, people figured out how to hack around it and get the markers to show back up. So some people have situational awareness where other people don't. So this came to the attention of the developers, and they actually put up a choice between two options on their site. You would think that if there is a game-breaking hack, the developers are going to try to fix it and patch it. But no. Their two choices were, speaking of people who post modifications to the game or hacks, strike any such videos according to our license and fight any advertisement of modifications in general, or change the game mode returning markers to ranked battle. And the reason that this ticked a bunch of people off is basically the developer is sidestepping the question of whether or not it should fix its game, and instead asking the community, hey, we can just copyright strike these channels and get this stuff removed and just ignore the problem and keep on walking, which, it's one community amongst a bunch, but it's kind of indicative of a problem that's been going on a while and has been addressed recently by a bunch of people with the copyright system on YouTube, where companies are striking or just taking away monetization on videos that they really don't have a right to. And it's getting a little bit weird. Now, thankfully, the developer backed off of it because there's like 18 pages worth of backlash. There's going to be a link in the description on it. But yeah, it's just a little worrying to me that people, I don't know. You have a developer wanting to not fix their game and just stop people from talking about it instead.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the clear problem here is that the infrastructure that they set up enables wall hacking. So it's not that someone has to run external scripts or hacks or fucking programs or anything so that they can actually wall hack.
It's entirely within the game.
And then they just need to modify it so they can see what the game is already offering.
Yeah.
The fact that they can't see that this is partly their own responsibility or wholly their own responsibility is mind-boggling to me. At the end of the day, things like actual further than that hacks, right, that get into all normal games, TF2 is rife with them, CSGO is rife with them. Those kinds of things, I understand the copyright strike a little more, but when the problem is inherent in the game itself already, it does seem really heavy-handed, especially considering how much a copyright strike hampers the existence, basically, of a channel.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more opposed to the using of the copyright strike in the first place because it's not a copyright issue. They're using a tool for the wrong purpose. It's funny because, like you said, it's a glitch within the game itself, and honestly, granted, I don't know a lot about the game engines behind these things. I know a very small amount, just enough to be very dangerous. But it would seem like a problem like that would be relatively easy to fix. A change in how it's registering with the network code, something along those lines. But they, in their post on that forum, they're like, it will also cost us a lot of time and will affect the development schedule of other things, but it seems to be the only solution because the community was pushing for it. And it's just funny, they're dragging their feet so much on it. It's like, this is relatively insignificant as far as game-breaking bugs go. I mean, you know.
So at some point in our channel's history, we've all had to search up someone's Let's Play and monetization policy. Like, I'm assuming we've all done that.
Yeah.
Have you ever read through the entire thing?
No, fuck off. I don't read anything, man.
No.
I read absolute fuck all.
Just enough to, like, know whether or not they say, you cannot do this.
Yes. So I typically
fuck
read through them, or at least read through as much of it as is relevant, like glance at the really important things. Every single one that I've seen so far has said, we grant you permission, but if it shows the game in, if it shows certain aspects of the game, or if you discuss certain things that our parent company does not agree with, we reserve the right to copyright strike. It's always there. I'm as much as I'm not a fan, showing explicitly how to exploit a game, I can understand it.
And see, here's where you have two terms of service that come in that are directly opposed to each other. Because on one hand, you have an end user license agreement that says if you say these things, we reserve the right to copyright strike you. And then on the other side, you have YouTube's terms of service, which says if someone copyright strikes you, you have the right to prove that what you're using is not copyrighted. It's putting it under copyright law, not under, you know, some kind of pre-existing agreement. And it's difficult to know which side of that, like, a copyright lawsuit would come down on, because you did agree. You did agree to the terms that they could copyright it, but on the other hand, it's not a legitimate copyright strike. So,
yeah, exactly.
Which side wins?
Down to the definition of fair use, which all of the time is what we have to deal with in copyright strikes. It is, does this qualify as fair use? I would say in almost every single case, yes. Yes, it does.
That's actually going to court now. And it's probably one of the stupidest possible videos that could be setting this precedent. But H3H3 Productions is actually going to court. They're getting sued over fair use for a reaction video. And I'm not going to go entirely into all of the drama associated with it because it was plastered all over YouTube, and I'm sure you can find videos of it. But what it boils down to is H3H3 doing the typical reaction style video, using 6-second chopped up clips of the video, and then reacting to it and making fun of it. The video, only about a third of it is the other person's video. The rest of it is all them ripping on him and doing their routine and stuff. But anyway, the guy did not take kindly to them making fun of him, and he started with demanding money and a public apology. And when they said no to that, he went to, you have to do 2 months of promotion on your channel for my channel. And then when they said no to that, he's like, okay, I'm suing you for copyright.
2 months of promotion of my channel on your channel.
Yeah.
How is that going to work? Hey, go follow this guy who is threatening to sue us if we don't promote him. You know what you'll just get? You'll get a bunch of angry H3H3 fans spamming dislikes on every video and leaving vitriolic comments.
Yes, or they'll do the promotion video using air quotes the entire time. This is such a great channel. You should totally go check this out. He makes great stuff.
He's definitely not a jerk who's extorting us.
So I've been thinking about this a lot. This is obviously we all work. We'd like to work all perhaps full time in the sort of YouTube sphere, but we're definitely exposed to a lot of the stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
and it's something that I've been thinking about an awful lot, because whether it's doing a reaction video or whether it's doing a gaming video, the circumstances are very, very similar, because we are taking something else that somebody made and we are turning it into something that we are making. Just like H3H3 took that guy's video and, made it funny or, reacted to it, we are playing games and putting them up on a YouTube channel. And I don't actually know where I stand on this issue, right? This is a really, really, really difficult issue to define. And I don't know what to think about it, right? Because on one hand, I can totally appreciate, these guys, H3H3, they're making some new stuff from some old stuff. They're creating brand new content that is, completely different to the original intention of what the original content was set out to do. But at the same time, they are using this guy's content and he is not getting anything from it, right? I mean, take away the fact that, he got really grumpy about it, right? And decided to sue them. That's just dumb, all right? That's really dumb. But at the same time, the whole fair use thing, it's very nebulous. It's not set in stone.
It was intentionally left as a gray
very
area.
Fluid.
Like the original
very fluid.
Trademark and copyright law, you don't want to be super, super restrictive, because then it is very difficult to have innovation that you can copyright or patent and make money off of it. Because a lot of times, you have one technology that's created and then that technology is used to create more new things. So the water needs to stay a little bit muddy, but what I'm afraid is going to happen here is that some kind of court decision is going to come down that tries to quantify it. Like, you may have X amount of seconds of content from another source, and if you have any more than that, then you don't own it. And that will pretty much single-handedly kill the entirety of gaming on YouTube, because anything that you say that is detrimental to a game company, they can then legitimately copyright claim your video. And even if they don't strike it to get rid of it, everyone who is posting good content, they can claim the monetization on it.
I'm going to disagree with this. I'm going to disagree with this because I think that this is where reaction videos and gaming content start to diverge, right? If H3H3 are making a video about some other guy, then the only benefit that he has from it is the fact that it it promotes him in some small way, and even that is very questionable how much it's actually promoting his content in that video.
Yeah.
However, the relationship that gaming companies, or should I say the better gaming publishers, have come to develop on YouTube are very positive. A lot of gaming publishers and YouTubers have fantastic relationships, and this is great because YouTubers get to play the games early, they get to promote the games, they get to play the games, and gaming publishers get a little boost in sales from said YouTuber
Yeah.
promoting the game on a platform where they've got a built-in audience. So I don't think that it's comparable in that way, but yeah, I don't want to see a court decision just
It does make
smacking
bad
down
business
everybody.
practices easier, though.
Yeah.
You can get away with justifying it a whole lot easier. But yeah, as far as the promotion goes, just look on the day that like someone like Total Biscuit or Jacksepticeye or whatever, if they play a game or if they review a game, go look at the Steam sales numbers, because it is hilarious. You'll have some indie game that's like a couple hundred sales a day, and then they do that video and it makes like 7,000 or 8,000 sales immediately. And it stays up there because of the exposure. So
exactly.
On top of that, there are examples of when a smaller channel has covered a game, a larger channel has seen the smaller channel covering the game and covered the game, and then it just goes up the line. So from small channel to medium channel to large channel, there's still a direct benefit to the publisher to allow access and monetization of videos of their game. Some clear delineations I want to make. First off, reaction video, it's not a reaction video in the same way that people have been talking about reaction videos recently, like Jinx Reload. Like, here's a little box with the actual video. I'm just going to watch it. Yeah, that kind of thing. It's not that kind of a reaction video. It's actually more closely suited to critique and review, which is why I think their case is a lot more defensible than things like what we do, right? We have to argue that our fair use is transformative if we had to take it to court, whereas they have to argue that it is fair use under critique, which is not that
probably
difficult to
more
prove
easy defensible.
It's easy to argue rather than transformative, because what does transformative even mean? I mean, I just think of Transformers. I'll be honest.
Exactly. The nebulous definition of transformative
robots in disguise
is the problem.
Exactly. Robots in disguise.
Roll out. I can't do.
Oh no! Wait, that's literally anime and fantasy. I like that. Fuck Transformers, guys. Fuck Transformers.
And his true self shows
not
through.
Getting down with that.
His true self shows
actually,
through. All right, you gotta choose.
This isn't his
you
true
gotta
self.
choose.
This is the character.
You're either a Michael Bay fan or you're an anime fan. Which one is it?
I'm Michael Bay doesn't do anime. All right, he doesn't do anime.
How is that a difficult decision for me?
That's not a difficult decision. That's not a difficult decision at all. I'm doing Michael Bay. Me and him, we're tight. But no, anime. Fuck anime.
That's
man.
one of my favorite epic rap battles of history ever. Was the movie producers facing off Alfred Hitchcock and it was so great. It's all about that money. Great stuff.
You guys don't have your
checks to the bank and I sign them with my nuts.
Yes. So many great lines.
I love that one.
You guys just go off and have your little nerd out, whereas I just chill here and still hate anime.
Okay, so Kubrick's verse is like the best part of it, though.
Yes. Yes, it is.
A powerful word, but there's no reason to use it unless you're talking about the Kubrick. Then there's really nothing to it. Everything I do is visionary. Every single frame of painting made exactly how I want to make it. Do another taking. Like it's good, real good.
Are you reading that off the screen, or do you have that memorized?
No, I only have the podcast agenda over there. I know most of the epic rap battles off by heart. Anyone who's seen any of my videos,
I have a new appreciation for you, Rhapsody.
I randomly start fucking lines from certain ones in a bunch of Isaac episodes.
That is great. That is
I know it
fantastic.
looks like I was looking off screen, but I was looking to make sure that my voice was still transmitting through Discord.
Okay. Anywho,
Wow.
it's funny how
There you go.
many portions of life copyright law actually touches, and that's one of the things that worries me with this whole court decision, because one of the other fears that I have is that they're going to pursue this until they find a judge that basically says, oh, you don't have the right to bully people, so the fact that you're being bullied takes precedence over copyright. I can see that happening today. But anyway, that's beside the point. There is a fairly interesting story I saw earlier this week about the Rift and the Vive, because apparently Oculus Rift uses the way that they have implemented the proprietary software, where games will only work on the Oculus Rift. It's kind of associated with the DRM, like you have to break the DRM to port the game over to the Vive. And Oculus was trying to keep their DRM intact, and an update that they posted basically eliminated the security on their software. So earlier this week, it got ridiculously easy to pirate Rift games. And Oculus was rather upset about this for relatively understandable reasons. But
right, let's slow. Let's just declare our allegiances, because I don't presume any of us have ever played with either the Rift or the Vive. Is that a safe assumption to make?
Nope.
I have.
Oh my
Which
god!
one did you play with?
All right.
Rift.
Oh, okay.
Back before Developer Kit 2. Like, it was someone who came to an event that I was at, and they were like, I have an Oculus. I was like, okay.
What's that?
Yes, I'll put it on. I knew what it was, right? Because back then they hadn't, it was before the Facebook deals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So everyone still had goodwill about the existence of Oculus.
I was about to say, that is my defining factor there, because I have a passionate dislike for Facebook. So, yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question, right? Which team are we on? Are we Team Vive or are we Team Rift?
I love HTC as a company. Like, my first smartphone was an HTC Droid, and I freaking love that. I really liked that phone, and I've used a couple of their products since then. So I've been impressed with them as a company before. And if it's a choice between the Oculus Rift, which is data mining your PC every second it's plugged in, maybe a slight exaggeration, but not really, and an HTC Vive, which is pretty much objectively better hardware without being associated with a terrible company and one that I already like, I'm going to go with Vive.
You know what? I don't know why, but I just have a real attachment to the Vive, and I don't know why, but I just fucking hate the look of the Rift. Like,
really?
It just doesn't look. Yeah, no, I don't even know why. Like, just the box, right? I've seen so many unboxings of a Vive, right? And just the way that the box comes out and all of the foam inside the honestly, I don't give a shit about the Vive, right? But the foam inside that box, I just want to I want to feel that foam.
Do you buy Apple products?
No, oh dear God, no.
I was about to say,
no foam.
If you're
no foam, no foam at all.
If you're going to define your entire tech lifestyle by the packaging that your products come in, oh my goodness.
But just, oh man, the color scheme on the Vive just looks so good, right? It looks so good, and the foam is so foamy, and I really just want to touch the foam, right? Even if I don't ever get to look at the Vive, I would take a look at the box.
Rhapsody, put it on the record.
How about we go half on a Vive? You can have the foam, I'll have the Vive.
I was about to say, we need to get sponsored. We need to get 2 Vives, and we can send both of the foam sets to Orbital Potato, and he will be the happiest person on the face of planet Earth, because he got not 1, but 2 Vive boxes.
You know what? I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the Vive. Well, I do know what it is about the Vive, and I just told you. But the presentation and the way that it carries itself just looks so much more appealing than the Rift. So much so that I like literally have just stopped giving a damn about the
Mhm.
Rift.
Yeah.
Like all I care about the Rift is that you can play Eve Valkyrie, which looks amazingly awesome, and everything else I just care about the Vive. Like even the way in which it was like released, right? The Rift has been beset with production delays, and
Yes.
it's just been an absolute catastrophe of a launch. Whereas the Vive, they did it in batches, and although batches maybe wasn't the best way to do it, it seemed to have led to pretty much everybody getting their Vive within an allotted time, and people that have ordered a Rift, I think, are still waiting. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true, but
Yeah, they
Yeah, some
are.
of them are.
There
yeah,
were people that
yeah,
had
I thought
ordered
so.
ordered the Oculus like before anyone even knew the Vive existed, and people are getting their Vives shipped to them before the Oculus.
Oh,
Exactly. I just
that's
think
a difficult story to
that's
hear.
just a
Yeah.
that's just a bad taste in your mouth, like a really
Uh-huh.
foul taste in your mouth. And honestly, the Vive looks like a piece of VR tech. Like it looks
Mm-hmm.
dope. It's got like a little
The
camera thing.
dimpled surface just
You know,
looks so
exactly.
you just want to touch it. Oh,
Yeah.
here I am going with it. Orbital wants to touch the foam and I want to touch the golf ball dimples.
It looks right. It looks like an observatory, right? It looks like an observatory that was like elongated in some sort of a tectonic, you know, event or something, right? And
Yeah.
it looks it looks great, and it just oozes quality. And
Hmm.
ah,
I
it
think
looks great. And apparently, as well, apparently all of the things that you wave around, you know, like the flying saucers in your hands,
Mhm.
apparently they're really accurate as well. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
stupidly
You can
so.
throw them and catch them in the virtual world, and they track
That's
so
insane.
accurately that you can catch it in the, looking at it in the virtual world, you can catch it in the real world,
And
which is just
this is
insane.
first generation. This is
Yeah.
bloody first
Yes.
generation VR. Like that's so nuts that we can do that. That's
Yeah.
so nuts.
I think one of
So
the
So
nuts.
things that bit Oculus so hard was that there's certain things, a lot of times being the first to an idea is a good thing, but I think Oculus tried to tackle VR before the tech was quite there. So they languished in development hell for years trying to get their hardware and software together to actually launch a viable product, while HTC, which is already a manufacturer of smart devices, they look at VR and they're like, hey, this looks like a good thing. We've already got manufacturing facilities, we've got engineers, the tech is here, we've got chips that are capable of this, we've got screens that are capable of this. Let's build one. And their development cycle was probably half of what Oculus Rift's was, but they started with 2 years newer tech. They didn't have the tie downs of the old Oculus Rift systems, trying to overcome problems that simply don't exist now. And they were able to crank out this epic product very quickly. And
it's also impossible to overstate how important it is the fact that they had that infrastructure for building specifically smart
yes,
devices beforehand. Like high resolution, low size screens, that is effectively
yeah,
your 3D monitoring in the inside.
it's like
It's very,
two
very important
two
situated in that.
two-thirds sections of a smartphone screen. I mean, basically, it's got pretty impressive resolution on it.
It's
It needs to.
nuts.
It's really
It is
important. Otherwise, you
nuts.
end up with blurry text, which is actually something a lot
Yes.
of people are complaining about with the Oculus. So, just to round out all three of us, 4 reasons why I have my allegiances with Vive rather than Rift. One, I like Valve and HTC. I trust both
Yeah,
of the companies that were collaborating on it.
as long as you don't need
Specifically,
customer support.
yeah, as long as you don't need customer support, Valve's good, right? But thankfully, with the majority of things they do, you don't need customer support because it's just good. Now, I
Yeah.
wouldn't exactly trust them for hardware, but thankfully they partnered with someone that has really, really high reputation for hardware. HTC specifically. Secondly, I really, really value open platforms. This is why I have this fucking thing rather than a Apple device of any kind.
Yeah.
It's super important to me that if I want to do whatever basically I want to do with my device, I get to do that and that I'm not really constrained to what the manufacturer or the sale wants me to do.
So is that the same reason that you have a balcony? Because you
Balcony?
value open platforms?
Pardon me while I go find a brick wall and beat my brains out on it.
Come on.
That was the
A
worst
balcony? Because you
and worst
value
delivered
open
pun.
platforms?
Don't disrespect an already bad pun by explaining it.
Oh my god.
So there are a bunch of people who were lucky enough to have copies of both the Oculus and the Vive at the same time, the Rift and the Vive rather. And in comparison testing between the two, the majority of people that I've seen have come down strongly on the side of the Vive. And the fourth is the accuracy of the sensors, which is incredibly important for the interactivity of games.
Yeah. And again, I cannot say strongly enough, the fifth reason that you should not get an Oculus Rift is because Facebook literally makes its living off of selling your personal information. And when you install the software and when you plug in an Oculus Rift, you are agreeing to the terms of service that let Facebook data mine your PC. So they're looking at you, they can hear you, they have access to everything on your PC, not just what you're doing on the internet while Facebook is open. And believe me, they are going to take advantage of all of that information. And that just makes me cringe. It really does. I mean, there's a lot of people who are willing to just, oh, I don't care. People can look at my information. It doesn't matter anyway. Really? So I don't know. It just bothers me.
The reason that I don't care is because what they care about primarily is data in aggregate. They want big data is the term you get thrown around, right? They want huge amounts of data, and it's not definable to a single person. It's so that they can notice trends and so they can use those trends to better tailor their services. Now, I don't think it's specifically evil or malicious. And it also doesn't directly affect me. Sure, they'll know that my PC has fucking Specky installed. That doesn't matter, right? Like to me, if it was identifiable to a single person, or if it was being acted upon as though it were identifiable to a single person, I would have much more of a concern with it. But having data collected in aggregate, as long as people are aware that it is being collected, I don't care. It's just the price of things at the moment. Like, if you aren't going to deal with a large overabundance of advertisements, and if you aren't going to pay a subscription service to use things like Facebook and Twitter, you have to understand they're not the product in that circumstance. You're the product now. Yeah. If it's free.
I mean,
kind of like the trade-off with ads.
Is that the same reason that you like balconies? Because it's an open platform?
So can we move this podcast down to just Brink and I? Feel free to vote in the comment section down below. We can have a kick orbital off petition.
No, we can have a
ban orbital in BTN.
We can have a let's rent a place with a balcony and throw Potato off of it.
That would be why I would be a fan of balconies.
He can experience the open space all the way down to the ground below.
How high are we talking here? Because I could probably,
6 foot. Floor.
I'm young.
6th floor.
I'm a 6 foot floor. I can handle a 6 foot floor.
6th floor.
6th floor.
Yeah.
6th floor balcony. I can probably handle. I can probably handle a balcony to about 3 floors, perhaps, maybe with a broken leg or whatnot. Yeah. It comes with a job, I mean, I can admit that, but
you might not be as salty on the morphine though. So I mean, you might mellow out for a few podcasts.
Man, you know what? I would love to try some morphine. I don't know if anybody's tried morphine here, but I would love to try some. I think that would be dope. I mean, not exactly dope, but you know what I mean.
Literally dope.
Literally dope.
So codeine is an effective painkiller because in your body it synthesizes morphine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
through that, I would have experience with it, but other than that, no.
Oh, okay. So
I've been knocked out a few
alright.
times. I am fairly susceptible to what is it? Anesthetic? No. Crap.
General anesthetic?
Yes. Anyway,
Yeah.
it knocks me like really loopy. It works, but it takes me like a full day to get over it, and I am ludicrously high while I'm getting over it. But no, never been down the morphine path.
I just want to try morphine. Like sign me up. Give me a fucking bit of foam from the HTC Vive box. Give me some morphine. And you're gonna have a very
and an
happy
open
potato.
balcony to sit on while you take your morphine shot
balcony.
and then rub the foam.
Yeah, I'll be sorted. You know, it's the simple pleasures. You know, it's the simple pleasures and the complex chemicals. That's all it is.
Your simple
folks.
simple pleasures, the morphine and the $600 foam.
Yeah, I don't know. See, do you reckon? You're right. All right, hear me out about this. Do you reckon that we can find on eBay like a HTC Vive box? You
Probably.
reckon?
If you want it bad enough, someone will sell it to you.
An HTC Vive box.
So, in other rumors about VR, while Orbital Potato is looking for a Vive box on eBay, Take-Two Productions said that they will definitely bring GTA and Red Dead Redemption to VR if enough people purchase the hardware. I'm not sure where that threshold lies, but that is fascinating to me because we're talking about like real deal open world games coming to VR where you can step into the game and experience it on that level. And that is just a mind-blowing thought to me. I've not played either one of those games, but if a AAA title, full-blown graphics, realistic simulations in a big world comes out, I would definitely pick it up strictly for the sake of the experience in something like that.
So, I don't know. I actually have a VR
story.
story.
Me with this?
Me? Am I on the same page?
Are you also not thrilled about the idea of GTA or Red Dead Redemption being taken to VR?
You don't want to get run over by a car and then gunned down in virtual reality.
Well, hey, if the GTA hackers are still there, then who gives a damn? Honestly, I don't think that you're gonna enjoy playing GTA and Red Dead Redemption on VR. I think that is just gonna be a pain and a chore. Like the whole reason that I enjoy using a controller or a mouse and keyboard is because I don't have to fucking wave my arms around the room like, you know, I'm trying to attract attention of somebody, you know, on the other side of the world.
Do you get out of breath if you put your arms over your head?
No. Hey, that is a very stereotypical view to take of somebody who works on YouTube far too much. But seriously, right? If I'm waving my arms around, like, you know, I'm trying to get with someone hot or whatever, that's not gonna be fun. That's not gonna be fun. You know, I want to sit down in front of a computer and just play. I don't want to fucking move my head around. I don't want to get like neck cancer from moving my head around so much when I'm playing GTA. That's just not fun, man. That's just not fun at all.
So that's okay. That's not the problem I have with it. The problem I have with it is porting existing titles to VR.
Oh no, you'd have to make a whole new GTA.
Yes. No, you'd have to build something from the ground up to specifically take advantage of all of the different things that you have in a control scheme that includes VR.
Yes.
It would really feel like a cash grab to port anything to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm in 100% agreement to that.
Let's hold up. Are you telling me that GTA, a game which came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and was not going to be coming out on next generation consoles, and subsequently was announced that it was going to be coming out on next generation consoles, and then had the audacity to be released on PC after all of that, charging the full price at each stage on PS3, on PS4, and on PC, or 360, Xbox One, and on PC. Are you telling me that money grabbing isn't a thing that these people do? Right? Let's just
Everything
be
is
real
a money
about
grab.
this. That's pretty possible. It's pretty possible.
So
I'll be honest.
Orbital, I lived through the retail in an entertainment area. I lived through that life when GTA came out. And I remember the whole day, ring, 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 ring. No, we're out of GTA. Ring, 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 ring. No, still no fucking GTA. Like, my whole day was spent looking customers in the eye who've walked up to me and just like shaking my head because I know what their question is going to be and they know that I know, so they just walk away whilst picking up the phone and juggling the other one like, no, we don't have it. No, I'm not going to call another company. Well, because I already called them. They don't fucking have it. No one does.
That's where you change your phone system to like press 1 if you press 1 if you were looking for GTA. Beep. No, we don't have any freaking copies. Click.
I did end up like every single phone answer. I wouldn't wait for them to ask the question. I would just say, if you're calling in regards to GTA 5, we do not have any copies available at this point. And then let the conversation continue if it needs to. The majority of the time, I got hung up immediately on afterwards.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Right,
Good old days of hard copies of games.
I don't even know why I sort of forgot this like slightly tangential story, but I feel that we might as well fucking say it. I mean, when else am I going to tell anybody about it? I was the only YouTube event that I have ever been invited to. I was given and this was like a proper organized by Google thing. So, it was pretty big deal here right now, folks. I got given something called a Google Cardboard, which is like this tiny VR viewer that you stick your phone into, and then you can like look around. And honestly, I thought it was like going to be a gimmick. I thought it was going to be like trash or whatever, because it's literally just a piece of cardboard. It's not an Oculus. It's not a Vive. It's nothing even close, right? Holy cow. VR is fucking nuts. Like,
yes.
Like there was this like simulation, this like default simulation in it, and I was this bird and I went off a cliff and my fucking stomach, I almost threw up, right? It was insane. It was absolutely bonkers. But I don't think that, well, I can't really appreciate, I don't think any of us, apart from maybe Rhapsody, I don't think any of us can really properly appreciate the impact that VR is going to have, because it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be crazy if you can experience it through a tiny little bit of cardboard and my mobile phone.
It's going to have to cross that threshold though, where like nobody's going to develop games for hardware that no one owns, and no one's going to buy hardware with no games. And they've already hit the threshold where people are realizing, most of the stuff available for the Vive, most of the stuff available for the Oculus Rift are tech demos. And like Oculus Rift has been talking about, we're launching with this awesome library of titles that are going to be available when the Oculus launches. Not only does the launch date for the Oculus Rift keep getting pushed out, but these titles aren't materializing. So it's like, when you have that big of a lack of content, other than your super hardcore enthusiasts, nobody's going to buy the freaking hardware. So where do you go from there?
The reason I think that's actually like a really important point is every single time that a console is... Oh, wow.
Seriously?
Porn has single-handedly driven every entertainment innovation in the last 50 years.
See, you know what? Suddenly I don't sound so fucking stupid, do I? I sound like I actually know what I'm talking about.
VHS tapes, home video cameras, the DVD revolution, internet video, like all of this stuff has been either pioneered by or greatly expanded by the porn industry. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
you may
It's
have a good point there. They might drive VR too.
I think they are. You know, I seriously think it's gonna get people, understanding how fucking nuts VR is. And you know what? Once you got a whole bunch of people that have got the hardware to it, then people are gonna make games for it.
And
People are
when
gonna
you
buy those
ruin your
games.
relationship after being caught with a sex doll with a VR headset on, call us for your relationship advice. We will save you.
Oh yeah, post a comment. Post a comment and ask us what you should do. And we'll give totally legitimately accurate answers. Totally.
So
Oh,
outside of that industry, I think it's really important that every single console release that's happened recently has happened with the console creator working with publishers for first or second party releases that are available at launch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason that I think the Vive is going to be far more successful, because they are partnered with Valve, who haven't
yeah.
released a actual new game in a very, very long time. But you can already see the tech demos they're working with Portal. You can imagine
Yes.
that
Perfect.
upon full consumer release, there is going to be a full AAA Valve VR game.
There's 3 of us
Half-Life
in
3
this
confirmed?
podcast. Half-Life 3
Oh my
confirmed.
god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Half-Life 3
Oh
is
my
not going to
God.
be it. They've
Of
already
course
confirmed
not.
that.
It's not.
Of course
It's not going to be it. It's not going to be it.
No.
But you know what? Even Portal, right? Portal is the perfect
Holy
game
crap,
for the
yes.
Vive. Like completely unintentionally, they've managed to end up with
It's even
a
got like
puzzle game
the hand controller that
fully
you point
fleshed
around
out.
the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So perfect. So perfect for the Vive. Amazing.
Has anybody?
Rhapsody,
I'm
you
amazed
genius.
nobody's like ported a Portal clone over to one of the VR headsets yet. It's probably happened, and I just don't know about it, because that seems like the kind
Yeah,
of
it
thing
would
that
happen.
someone would port or
Yeah.
make in a new engine or something. Because it's a fairly simple game, so can't be that hard to
Yes.
make.
It's left click, right click, jump, crouch.
Yeah, and it's all like white panel rooms and everything else. It's not something that's super intensive to create. Yeah, and something else interesting you mentioned about the consoles with unique first party titles on release. It seems like the consoles are trying to chase both the 4K and the VR bandwagon, because PlayStation not just, it's been public information for a while, but they're coming out with the PS. Have they named it the new PlayStation?
4.5?
4.5,
Isn't it 4.5?
4K, whatever people are calling it. It's basically a higher spec PlayStation that is capable of streaming 4K video. It can upscale normal games to output at 4K to take full advantage of the resolution on UHD TVs. And it's got the graphics horsepower to run the PlayStation VR headset. So that's its own entity. It's still going to share common titles with the PS4, but, better graphics, that kind of thing. And now, just yesterday and today, there's rumors coming from a couple of different sources. Kotaku had, I think, 3 unnamed sources. They're confirming that Xbox is apparently coming out with a couple of new consoles. One of them's like a light console. It's the equivalent of the Xbox 360 Slim. Basically the same spec as the current Xbox One, just much smaller package, and they're adding the capability of streaming video in 4K, not playing games in 4K though. And then apparently a year down the road, they're going to try to release a competitor for the new PlayStation, the upgraded PlayStation, that's supposed to be, according to the rumors, like 4 times as powerful as the current Xbox One. And there's also some talk floating around of them partnering with one of the VR companies, possibly Oculus, to pair the headset up with the Xbox, so you could bring VR to the living room, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm kind of caught
You know,
between.
it's the Half-Life refresh. For all the
Yeah,
console peasants out there, I pity you. But
I still have my
great,
360 Slim. Like,
great.
what is it? 6 years old now. Still works.
Would you ever play it though? Like, would you ever choose to go back to that over
I
like
have
a computer?
not, because the games that I used to enjoy, I just got so completely burnt out on that I have no desire to go back to them.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I still whip out,
nah.
like, I have a GameCube. I actually play the GameCube uh,
Yeah.
way more than the Xbox. But, like, I'll pull that out when people are over because it's a fun thing to do when you have a bunch of people at your house. Like, pull it
Yeah.
out and play Smash Brothers for a while or something.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Party game central.
yep.
Yeah.
As far as the loner experience, enough games have shut down that the Xbox 360 is not as great to play anymore. So,
Exactly, and that's another reason why I am firmly of the belief that if you're gonna game, if you want to game, then PC is the best way to do that. If you don't really care about those exclusive Nintendo titles,
running
I guess.
144 frames per second on ultra settings.
Yeah, I
So,
I don't know. I mean, there was yeah. It's cool. It's cool that the PS4 is doing it, but again, who cares? I'm not really over the moon about it. I don't really give a damn.
speaking of games,
Don't really give a damn.
okay.
He doesn't really give a damn, just in case you missed it.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I,
if he doesn't care, then I'm done. I mean, I'm just kidding.
oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so
great. Well, thanks,
anyway,
folks. Yeah,
what have
it's been good.
we been playing this week, guys? Somebody pick up with a game that you want to talk about, something that you've been doing the last few days.
Oh, well, all right. You know what? I'll start this one because whatever. Um, I've been playing a couple of games this week. Mostly, I've been playing. I don't know if I've been playing one game specifically. I've been playing a lot of Total War Warhammer. That's a new game that just came out this week. It's the brand new Total War game that is set within the Warhammer universe. No exposure to the Warhammer universe at all. I am loving the game so far. I've played a little bit of Total War before, but I love it. I think it's dope. I think it's great, and I'm really happy with it. I'm
It's really
I'm loving
awesome to
it.
me. I've been looking through like some of the artwork for the game and screenshots, trailers, that kind of thing. It's really cool how they've taken the art and play styles and the characteristics of the races from like a spacefaring age and put them into like colonization era warfare, where instead of these gigantic ships traveling between systems, you have the same look of the ship, like the narrow pointed hull with the shielding and everything on the front end of like a steam powered carriage or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
such
yeah.
an epic take on the lore. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, very steampunky. It's really cool. I like it. I'm loving it. It's really good fun. Um, uh, yeah, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Can confirm it is a good game. I suppose it's going to be more value. I got the game for free, by the way, so that might make me a bit more in favor of it, I suppose, but not really. Um, if I suppose like I would recommend this game to anybody who's interested like in the Warhammer lore. Like as I've already said, I've not been into Warhammer at all up to now. And it seems that if there was another game about this sort of, story and this sort of lore, then I would jump on this bandwagon because it is very fleshed out and it means business. It's good. It's really good fun.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
You're
Yeah,
you're like me.
that was
You're
my
late
week.
to this universe because I only got into the whole
Yeah,
Warhammer thing
yeah,
like maybe 6 months ago when I started playing
yeah.
the original Dawn of War, and it's
Oh
just
Yes.
yeah,
such an epic universe. It really is.
Agreed.
it really is. It's fun. It really is fun. But yeah, that
Yep,
was
yep.
that was my week. That was my week in
I
video games.
suppose I'll go next because the final one that we have to talk about might take a while. So I've been playing, or I have played recently, a game that still has only 2 maps, but I keep going back to because I just want to master them. I've been playing golf with your friends. If you're familiar with golf with friends, this is that same game. It unfortunately had to have a name change due to some copywriting problems.
Yes.
But it's basically a no frills version of mini golf, right? It controls absolutely excellently. It has brilliant map design as far as I'm concerned. It looks beautiful. It's just everything that you wanted in a mini golf game that doesn't have all of this extra extraneous bullshit that some of them try to add into. Oh no, we'll revolutionize mini golf by giving you weapons. Like, that's interesting, sure, but it's not what I'm looking for in a mini golf. Sometimes I just want a fucking mini golf game. And if you just want a fucking mini golf game, Golf with Your Friends is that one. They only have, as I said, 2 maps at the moment, both with 18 holes, but a little birdie has told me there's another one soon to be released. And this is the reason I wanted to mention this week.
Is this a free to
Orbital and
play
I both
or
played
is
this.
it?
It is not free to play. It is $6 USD or your regional equivalent on Steam. It's really, really inexpensive. It's currently in early access. So the fact that it is bereft of extremely deep content is going to happen. I mean, it's still in early access, but
Yeah.
it's basically feature complete, not content complete, which is the kind of early access that I really like, right?
Mhm.
All of the things that you can do are there. There just aren't enough maps or characters, or, you know, depending on whatever game you're talking about, the content just isn't expansive enough.
Yeah.
At $6 though,
Yeah.
those 2 maps are enough. I've played almost, I think, 50 hours of this game at $6.
It looks
reasonable.
pretty impressive. When I first brought up a video on it, I was like, oh, this is just another like little crappy game. But like watching the physics work and looking at the finer details and the maps and stuff, this is a pretty respectable release. I mean, it's not like anything AAA, but
Yeah.
if it does what you're saying, you know, where it's the quality of the gameplay over anything else, then heck yeah.
Yes. It
So-
feels perfect. Like, there are so few circumstances I've been in where physics works in some sort of an unexpected way, and I'm like, hang on, I don't disagree with I'm not certain that's how it works. I'm going to call up Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, is that how physics works? And he's like, no, right? That has happened very rarely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a little problem with this. I have a little problem with this. It's been this way. It's been in this very feature complete way for a fairly long time.
Mhm.
And I really, really, really enjoyed playing the couple of maps that there was, right? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun golf game. I thought the maps were very varied. I thought that they were good. They had some obstacles in, but there's nowhere near enough content in this. And they've got to find some way to let people design their own maps. And they need to do it like soon.
That would be a good
Because
feature.
this
So
it's been
yeah,
in
that's
development for
something
a
that
long time.
that's something both Orbital and I discussed in the series that we did with Solo on this one, and that's that
Mhm.
this would really, really, really benefit after, I'm assuming, after early access ends, from having an open Steam workshop where you can design your own maps,
Mhm.
because it would just be so beautiful to have an expansive variety
Can you
in Steam
imagine
Workshop
the
of
crazy stuff that
different
would happen?
curated maps. Sorry?
Can you
Yeah.
imagine the crazy stuff that would happen? I mean, you've seen what
Oh,
people
yeah.
do with like the map creation tools on games like Happy Wheels, where basically you have nothing to work with and people make these huge adventure worlds with custom graphics and all this other stuff. I mean, people who pour that much time into mod making a game like this, it would be awesome to see some of the chain reactions that they would create on mini golf courses. I would watch compilations for days.
And you know, I think it's admirable. Admirable? Admiral.
No, you had it right the first time.
Admirable. Okay, I think it's I think it's impressive how you can play a game for 50 hours and only for 2 courses, but I think that you must be in the minority of people that can do that. Like, I think we need to see
I wouldn't think
something.
so.
So I
If you're
I
playing
don't know
with
if I
It's
could play that
not
friends.
same course.
golf with your friends.
I don't
See,
know.
I play it by myself, right? See, for me, it's about mastery of the each individual level, right? So there's always like you can do it safely in 3 shots, or you can do it a little more riskily in 2 shots, or you can try. You can try for the perfect angle at perfect speed and get that one hole in one. And my goal is always just to get my score as low as possible. I mean, this is how golf works, right? Uh, but it's surprisingly engaging to constantly go through the same course and go, okay, so last time I fucked this up, I need to go off this bunker with this speed, and oh look, hole in one, perfect. Now I know that, and I
Yeah.
need to be able to execute that perfectly every single time. Something that I wanted to mention after Orbital was talking about the feature depth of it, but not the content depth of it. They have changed a lot in the time since we played Orbital. They've added a bunch of
I
more
know, yeah.
features rather than content, but they also redesigned a
Ah,
bunch of the maps, specifically in the Oasis map. The end of it, which both of
yeah.
us had a lot of trouble with, has been completely redesigned.
Still, right? I still think that you're in the minority. You know, I appreciate how you don't want to be, but I still think that this game needs more. This game needs a lot more stuff, and they need to
It's, I
before
mean,
before. No, I think their courses are good, but I think that we need to see proper like just fucking throw it to the wolves. You know, let the community give it a shot and let them do it now, because the sooner the better. And I think that it's gonna be great, because you can go to this game and you can constantly have a new experience with the mechanics that you know are solid. And I think that that is going to be a lot more powerful than just, you know, playing the same couple of courses for a little while. But you know, as soon as it
I
happens,
understand that.
I think it's going to be even better.
I understand that, and I know, but it is, to be fair, we have to note, an indie developed game that is currently in early access.
Yeah,
Holding it by the standards
exactly.
of it
Yeah,
doesn't have enough depth to be a fully purchased game,
And it's only
I
six
don't
no,
think it's
dollars.
entirely fair. And the fact that it's only $6,
Yeah.
exactly, as far as I'm concerned, those 2 tracks are worth way more than the $6 investment that I put into it. Really good
Yeah.
game. Again,
Yeah.
$6 USD or your original equivalent. Golf with your friends. Boasts a
With
It is a good game.
96%
your
positive on
friends.
Steam, which is incredibly high.
It is a good game. I'm not bashing it. I'm not bashing it. I just think it would be a heck of a lot better with more content, because it is a dope game. Like I love it. I love it as well. I want to put that out there. Should be good
Yeah.
fun. What about you, Brink? What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing the same thing that you have been playing, that second game you mentioned. Hello, it's Overwatch. Yes, that released this week.
Yeah.
$40 premium AAA release, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think it's worth it. I've been having a blast with this one. I mean,
Yeah,
as
it's good.
far
Yeah.
as first person shooter games go, I have not had one that I enjoyed or I thought was worth spending time in probably a year and a half. And this one has kept me thoroughly entertained for quite some time. It's kind of a
Yeah.
different one. It is a team shooter. And at times it can be a little bit frustrating because if you don't have a team that will back you up, then things typically go bad for you because, you know, you've got tanks, you've got assault class, you've got defense class, and you've got support class. And if you have a team that is mixing them up rather well and playing together, then they're obviously going to do way better than somebody who goes like 5 straight assaults and just goes Rambo. I don't know. There's a lot of different aspects to this game. It would take a long time to sit here and analyze every different part of it, and many people have done that already. Just rest assured, I've been playing it and I enjoy it. So,
Yeah.
I can leave it at that.
Ditto to that. Yeah. It's a really enjoyable game. I am also loving it. Yeah, just having a blast. Having a blast just
That was a
pissing
little
around in
reserved,
Overwatch.
but
Yeah. It's
So,
really okay. All right. No, okay. No, you know what? Shut up. I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this properly. I fucking love Overwatch. Okay, I am addicted to this game. It is great. Like if I didn't have to make YouTube videos on actual content like strategy games and stuff, I would be playing Overwatch like for a good few hours per day. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to do that at the moment. But if I could, I would. It's a damn good game. It's a damn good.
That's
It's a
what I was
damn
expecting you to
game.
say. See, you guys
Damn
have
good
no
game.
idea in the time that Orbital Potato and I have spent playing Overwatch together and then discussions outside of this podcast, that is the attitude that I've seen.
It's
Yeah.
it's a damn good game. It's a really good
Hey,
game.
hey, Potato, you want to turn in a match of Overwatch while we're waiting for whatever? Heck yeah! Boot it
What?
up.
You wanna play a match of Overwatch while we listen to Rhapsody explain why he doesn't like Overwatch?
Yo,
Uh-oh.
don't
Yeah.
spoil my argument.
What?
Oh, sorry.
What?
Sorry. Oh, whoops.
We have a dissenting opinion in the
Spoilers.
room?
What?
Well,
A dis-
well,
Get the
that's
mob!
opinion
Get the
on
pitchforks!
Overwatch, the game with a 98% Metacritic score? How dare? You know what? Next, you'll say Rhapsody didn't like GTA 5, which had a 98% for a large amount of
No.
time as well.
no.
So,
Well, that's all. That's all, folks. Come along next week where
That's
we'll
all.
be discussing the.
And it will just be
Here's
me
the
and
part where
Potato
I get to
because
be
Rhapsody
the-
will have suffered a mysterious accident.
So here's the
why?
part where I get to be the negative and salty bastard rather than Orbital being so.
Okay.
I have played split between 2 days ago and yesterday, probably around 10 hours of Overwatch, and I don't get it. I just like a large amount of the reason that I'm strictly negative on it, like I would just go, it's a fine game. But the amount of hype behind it and contrasting that with my experience of the game kind of makes me like it a lot less. So throughout that entire time, just so you don't think I'm horribly bad and that's why I don't like the game, I had good performances, bad performances. I played a bunch of different characters. My two favorite characters to play were Mr. High Noon and Mr. Pump Up the Jams. It's bad on their names. So the problems that I had with it were apparently things that would be fixed by playing with a team. So I will note I did solo queue for the entire 10 hours.
That was a
I've
mistake.
not had. Yes, that's something
That was a
both
huge mistake.
you've mentioned, I think, slightly in passing, but also I tweeted about it and I had a few people say, hey, were you playing solo? You probably shouldn't be playing solo. But even though I played 10 hours solo, and if I played 10 hours duo, I might have enjoyed it a little more, it also feels like ridiculously content light for a game that is not strictly in early access, that is a full AAA release. I've seen every map already. I've seen every character.
It is a
I've played every
$40
character,
release,
used every
not
ability.
a $60, which I think makes it a
I-
little more fair.
That makes it a little more fair. But I mean, if it's going to be a $60 game, I would be annoyed if there was any option for microtransactions in. And I understand they're just for cosmetic things, but I would be annoyed of there being any option for that inside. But at 40, I'll accept that because it just lets people who want to invest more. I've seen a fair amount of criticism talking about the content depth of the game, and I understand that might get better over time. But the problems that I have with the game are mostly based around the fact that none of the characters really feel fun to me personally. Let me modify those statements before I get
You
flamed
can
to death.
look me in the eye and tell me that gut hooking someone with Roadhog and shotgun blasting them in the face after they get yanked right next to you is not fun.
So whether or not that's fun, being being hooked by Pudge and then being eaten is
It's
not
Pudge.
fun.
It's
when it's an
Pudge.
instant
It's
kill,
Pudge.
it is Pudge, right? When it's an instant
It
kill
is.
for almost every single character in the game, and it's got a low cooldown on the hook.
Yeah.
So,
right?
Fair
all right,
point.
okay, all right. Let me a couple of word and edgeways here. First thing, to reply to Rhapsody's critical analysis, I actually think that you're onto a couple of winners there. I think that your solo queuing experience doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, this is a game that you can enjoy on a solo level and on a team level. And I don't think being in a team improves your experience that much.
Really?
I don't think it makes as much big a difference. No, I honestly don't, because each character is individually very, very powerful. I mean, obviously, it's slightly more powerful in a team, but I don't think I don't think it makes a big difference. I honestly don't think it makes a big difference. I think this is a
Well,
game that matters much more about individual skill than it does about teamwork, because all of the characters are so different and are each very, very
I
powerful in
don't
their own
know.
way. So you
I
know what?
really
I
think
can respect
six
that.
people working together is so significantly stronger than six people working separately that it kind of breaks the game. Like that
Well,
is
you
the
know what?
one
It's
downside that I can see to this is that like okay, the other night I played for about 4 hours straight. I started in solo queue to learn how the game worked.
Mhm.
I moved to playing with well, I started streaming with me still going solo. Then I moved on to having one person, then two people in the party. Then Potato, you joined. We had four, then picked up five and six. And the most fun, most active games were the ones where we had four, five, six players on one team working together. Because the combos you can pull off are absolutely you just wreck entire teams, and then having the ability to chat, work with each other, share intel because there's no mini map or anything in this game, that kind of thing. It is an invaluable part of the experience. So
No, you know what? That's not the argument I'm making. The argument I'm making is that, yeah, that is definitely the way to do it. Obviously it's a team game. You need to make sure that you're communicating with your team if you're going to be,
yeah,
playing it properly. But if you're just jumping into a solo queue, maybe it's 30% more fun with teammates, but I don't think it's a big deal. I enjoyed it more with teammates, but I still have a huge amount of enjoyment playing solo. I don't think that detracts from the experience an awful lot at all.
I
Um,
I think you're in the minority there, just because every single person that I've seen
yeah,
talk about it in any sort of a critical or negative way has said it's night and day between whether or not you're solo queuing.
that
I feel I must be.
that
I
may
feel I
be
must
one of the
be.
biggest difference between this and Battleborn, because I've not played Battleborn, but from what I hear, you've played it. What'd you
I
think?
have.
I'll let you share.
I played it at PAX Australia. I thought it was a reasonable game. I thought the maps were relatively uninspired. I didn't get to play a large diversity of characters, unfortunately, because of course you're pretty time restricted at PAX events and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was anything revolutionary. It reminded me a lot of Monday Night Combat, if anyone played
Yeah.
that. Right? It reminded me more of that than it reminded me of Overwatch. Overwatch doesn't really remind me of that.
Yeah. I think people see the shiny art styles with the unique comic book style characters and they think, oh, Overwatch and Battleborn must be the same thing. And I don't know. I think that kind of hurt Battleborn because the hype was so huge surrounding Overwatch. And it's probably the
Mhm.
reason why, Rapsy, I think it was you that pointed out. I didn't even know that it happened. But didn't Battleborn do a price drop right before Overwatch released?
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on the retailer that you were purchasing from, it was a price drop between 33% and 50% of their initial launch
Which,
price.
for a brand new
So
game, that is huge.
that that is that is like folding immediately. Like, look, we just need to not make a loss on this. So
Yeah.
Gearbox have been very, very outright. It is Gearbox, right? Randy Pitchford's company.
Yeah.
Um,
Published. Yeah.
they've been very outright saying that they put all of their fucking eggs in this basket, and it really doesn't seem to be paying off. The critical reviews are relatively low. I've seen 75% as a number touted constantly around.
Yeah.
Obviously, Overwatch fucking broke Reddit the day it came out. Overwatch is, first off, actually something I want to say positive about it. One of the only fucking releases I've ever seen Blizzard not fuck up hardcore, although they did fuck it up in South America. But
They
Yeah.
no, they
for
fucked
the
it up. They fucked up Overwatch as well.
really,
Yeah,
Their
man. Are you kidding
servers
me?
are
This hype.
always bad on release.
No, like well, okay, the actual release day, no, didn't fuck it up, but the whole way of doing this and the fact that you had like a closed beta and then an open beta with very minimal changes
Yeah.
and supposedly just raising hype. No, that was just gating it, and I think that was a really shitty way of releasing a game.
Okay, so
Really shitty.
that's a different way of fucking up a release. I'm talking like, oh, Diablo 3 was unplayable for the first week.
Yeah.
I'm talking like
Yeah.
Every time
Hearthstone's
there's a
first
Hearthstone expansion,
not able to be
the
played.
servers break.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like for the first 4 hours after a Hearthstone expansion releases, you basically just might as well not even log on. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So.
All right. In my second response to Rhapsody's critical essay or whatever, it's like, yeah, microtransactions. I'm not really keen on them. I would agree that I don't really see a place in Overwatch, considering that it's a full-priced game, and it quite easily could have gone down the free-to-play model if it wanted to. And that was up in the air for a while. Like nobody knew for a while if Overwatch was going to be a free-to-play or if it was going to be a costed release. And I don't even think Blizzard knew. I think that they were looking at both sides of the coin right there. And they were deciding what would be better. But I think it's kind of stupid to charge for a game and then offer microtransactions. I just think it's a bit scummy.
Okay.
I don't think it's bad, but I just think it's a bit scummy.
I can actually shed a tiny bit of light on this because for a while I was discussing with some people and working on what we thought was going to turn into a game that we would actually release and never actually panned out. But one of the discussions that we had for it was, okay, we've got to think about how to fund this thing. And I mean, games cost a lot to develop. Labor's expensive. If you're talking about just a bare bones development team to get a really good, solid coder to head up the project, you're talking like $100,000 a year on a 2-year development cycle for a full-blown release. And then you have 2 or 3 coders under that, and then you have to have a couple of art guys. Even if you only have a 10-person team, the costs are astronomical. And, Blizzard has a very large team working on this. And you have to think, what quality game are we releasing? How much can we charge for it? Can we justify charging $5, $10? Like, how much do we think this is worth? And then if you can't ask for more than that, what can you do to raise revenues? Because you have to pay the thing off. And when you look at it from that perspective, you don't want to break the balance of your game by, having certain upgrades and stuff paywalled. You don't want to paywall characters because that splits your community up and makes, for a lot of drama. If you do strictly cosmetic items, people can choose to buy them. People cannot buy them. It doesn't make any difference at all. And if you choose to go the rando route where you have like loot crates and that kind of thing where people can unlock them just at random, then your content is open to everyone. And, maybe I'm a little biased against that because honestly, I could not care less. I will never buy a loot box. Yes. I'm still running all of the stock skins, even though I have multiple ones unlocked. But
that's pretty much why I'm not super pissed at it. It's just I don't give a shit. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect me.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna buy it. I bought the game.
This is something we actually spoke about in the first episode. The although they don't have keys in their economy, right? The crate economy that exists currently in games. Now, for purely cosmetic items, I do not have a problem with it at all. In fact, the fact that it's $40 release and it has those, I'm fine with. But I think that means that it can't excuse itself for being light on content. And I think if any other game company without as much goodwill behind it as Blizzard does release something with as little AAA release content as this, there would be riot. There would be people actually talking about it and giving it low review scores as a result of it.
Well, here's the other thing too.
For example, although there is less content in it, Star Wars Battlefront was critically panned for not having enough content.
Yeah.
Despite its gameplay loop being apparently interesting.
There's a huge difference here though, in that EA always has paid DLC and loves to put microtransactions in things. They don't do things for free, ever. Whereas Blizzard now has, what, a 3-year track record with Hearthstone? Where every year they have multiple expansions, half and half. Some of them are paid, where you have a story mode that you can play in single player, and then you have cards that are unlocked for people who pay for that, but are not so overpowered that you can't live without them. And then they have free expansions that open up a wide variety of new cards. And then, like with the Old Gods expansion, without doing a dang thing, you got like 17 free card packs when the expansion launched. So you got a nice hand of the new cards without having to spend a dime or play any games to unlock them. And so I think people can look at that track record and say, you know, Overwatch, they support their games for years. So it might be content light now, but they're going to have expansions later.
I agree with that. I think Hearthstone is a poor example, though, because with Hearthstone, look, it's a free release, right? They did it best with Old Gods because they gave you 3 packs. They gave you a few of the actual cards so you could build a build by numbers kind of deck for the Cthulhu deck. They gave you 3 free packs and then 10 packs total through quests afterwards as well. So 13 free packs plus a few free cards. The expansions themselves, the adventures and previous expansions were a little bit rough on those, and they are very, very clearly pushing, hey, do you want to buy the 50 packs? Pre-order them, and then you can get this.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I don't really have a problem with that, but the better example might be Diablo 3, which through content patches has been receiving constant updates for almost the same period of time.
Yeah.
Without the same kind of investment required from the customer.
So I kind of agree with you in terms of there's not that many maps and content is slightly on the light side, but that really depends what you classify as content, because it seems that you're only talking about the maps, and the way that I see it is, yes, there is very, very, very few maps. And I think in a traditional FPS game, like whatever it is, Call of Duty or Battlefield, there is a vastly larger pool of maps to draw from. However, where I think Overwatch gets it right, and where I think the content that is included really shines, is in the variety of all of the characters. I really, really, really do think that
your game,
the content is not in the maps. The content is in the characters, and it's in the way you play them, and it's about developing how to play those characters and how to pull off the combos with the great other characters. With other characters, it's not about the map, it's about the characters. And I think that Blizzard is trying to reinforce that by releasing the shorts, the cinematic shorts that they've done, which made me fall in love with the game. Like, that's why I pre-ordered the game. I don't pre-order games. I hate pre-ordering games. Dumb thing to do, right? I fell in love with this game because of the characters, and the maps simply a backdrop to the great mechanics that all of the characters have, and all of them are so good and so varied.
If you have a couple of different characters in a team, like if you have 5 people and 2 of them change which character they're using, your battle scenarios turn out totally differently.
Whole game has changed.
So
whole game has changed.
Every game is going to be different because you have a different composition of characters with a different group of play styles. So you're going to have a near infinite variety of ways that a match can turn out because of that. And the only thing that I will say is that some of the balance is going to have to be worked out. If Blizzard does a good job of fine-tuning the balance and tweaking certain things as running updates to kind of introduce new metas, new play styles, encourage people to use different characters, then this is going to turn out really well and you'll be able to play it basically forever. Like I was discussing with Potato right before we did the podcast, we played a few games. I was like, yeah, basically you have to have a Reinhardt on your team if you're attacking because you have to have the shield to walk behind. It's one of the most overpowered defensive options that you can possibly have. And so most teams that are attacking run a Reinhardt to get through these choke points in the map. So I don't know if at some point they're going to tweak how that whole thing works, but you know, you can introduce new metas to your game just by tweaking some stats.
See, I don't know if we can trust Blizzard to do that, though. Look at their track record on balancing their own games. StarCraft 2, the whole community has been crying for patches for ages, and they get them so rarely. Hearthstone was broken for months after the release of any new, oh, look, Grim Patron, this will be fine. Every single competition for 6 months will be ruled by 10-minute turns of whirlwind, inner rage, charge, fucking new minion, charge. I don't know if they can be trusted to do that in a game that needs to be as highly balanced as a class-based shooter. Like, compare it to something like Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2, in its inception, and through the years that it's been around, and let's face it, it is very similar in style to Team Fortress 2.
It's more Overwatch is basically Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's more similar to that than what other people were saying, like, oh, it'll be similar to Dota, but in FPS. I mean, they have abilities, sure, but it's basically the same as having a different weapon for a majority of them. It's really... I mean, in Team Fortress 2, they had to be really, really proactive about the balancing of that. And every other week for a very long time, there were balance patches and then huge balance patches and additions. And if they can do that, if they can master the release schedule that Valve set the bar for in Team Fortress 2, I'm going to be a lot more interested in this game. And let's be honest, Team Fortress 2 came out relatively content bereft. And I wouldn't have enjoyed it if I picked it up then.
It's going to be weird to balance.
I did like that game. I've played thousands.
It's going to be weird to balance anyway, because since every character has a different weapon and ability set, it, like Orbital Potato was saying just a minute ago, like all of the characters feel overpowered. But they're overpowered in unique manners. So, you know, like Bastion, you do not want to walk into a choke point with Bastion set up. But then again, Bastion is a sitting duck with 300 health and no mobility. All it takes is a couple of explosive rounds and he's paper. So on one hand, super overpowered. On the other hand, you're going to die. And most of the characters are like that.
Yeah, I was going to say before you brought up that point, that is going to be the most difficult aspect of balancing, is because the way that it feels is so damn good, right? If you can play a character, you feel like you're on top of the world because you feel so powerful because you can actually play it. And that is the most awesome thing in the world. And then when somebody kills you and they kill you in like one shot, like Widowmaker, you know, headshots you, it makes me want to kill myself, right? I swear to God. And, you know, I cry about how overpowered and bullshit that she is of a hero. But at the same time, everybody is so fantastically done that I don't know how you can change the meta game of this. I think the way that you change the meta game is by increasing the number of heroes that you have. I think new heroes.
Oh, they're going to add more.
What Blizzard is going to do. I think that new heroes are going to be favored over adjusting damage on weapons. I don't think Blizzard want it to become a game where, Tracer's weapons do 1.6 damage per second at this range. I don't think they want it to turn into a Dota. I think they want it to be much, much, much more accessible. I think the easiest way to do that is get some brand new faces in and change up the way that those heroes interact with other heroes. Like, for example, Pudge's hook, Pudge's hook hooks anybody out of position, hooks like the enemy out of position. If you had a similar hero that could interact with your own team in that way, so if you could like adjust the position of your teammates, that would be crazy, right? And that would really change the way that the game played. And I think that is by far the preferable way, in Blizzard's eyes, to muck around with the balance of the game rather
Kind
than
of the way they're
tweaking
balancing
the
Hearthstone,
values.
where they just
Yeah,
continually introduce new unique cards, and they only change ones that have been decidedly proven without a shadow of a doubt that they are overpowered. And when they do change them,
Exactly.
they usually just completely
Yeah.
kill them. So
Yeah.
See, but I can't abide that. You need to be more hands-on with, because you're not going to have.
I'm not saying
like,
it's a
oh,
good
this-
thing.
this
I'm
deck
just
is
saying it's
killed
probably
by-
going to be like that.
If it is, I'm gonna like that. That's the death of my interest in the game. I'm gonna try again after we finish this podcast. I'm going to watch a few lectures, and then I'm gonna turn on Overwatch because the person whose account I'm using is at work, so I get to share it in that time. And I'm gonna try it out a little more and more, but it just has not been an enjoyable experience yet.
Yeah, I can understand it.
I mean,
Alrighty.
I don't know. I don't know. Like this, I don't know how much they need to balance it. This is another thing.
Keenly,
I no, but you see, they've had literally an entire year of what is effectively a finished game, right? I think it seems pretty balanced. Seems pretty balanced to me, anyway. In my personal opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a ton of stuff packed into very nearly 2 hours of podcast. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed it. As I said, everything that we've talked about, links are going to be in the description. And definitely hit those up. Definitely leave a comment if you have a question you want to ask us or anything you want to comment in this episode. I guess that is going to wrap us up. Appreciate you two joining me on this little adventure.
no problem.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you in the next one.